Welcome to our tutorial on 3D game development using LibGDX. Today, we'll explore the exciting world of game development with this powerful framework. Whether you're new to game development or already have some experience, this tutorial will guide you step by step in creating a simple 3D game. Let's start by discussing what LibGDX is. LibGDX is a cross-platform game development framework written in Java that allows you to develop games for various platforms including Windows, macOS, Linux, Android, and iOS. It supports both 2D and 3D game development. To follow along with this tutorial, you'll need to have a basic understanding of Java and the LibGDX framework. If you haven't installed LibGDX yet, check out their official setup guide to create a new project. Once you have your LibGDX project set up, let's start by configuring our project for 3D development. Open your project structure and ensure that you have the necessary dependencies included in your build.gradle file. With our configuration set, let's move on to creating a basic 3D scene. Start by creating a class named MyGame, which extends Application Adapter. This will be the main application class for our game. Now, within the Create method, we need to set up our environment for 3D rendering. Start by initializing the camera, which will allow us to view our 3D space. We will use perspective camera for this task. Next, we need to create a model that we can render in our 3D scene. LibGDX provides a convenient way to create simple models. For this tutorial, we will create a basic cube. Let's create the Create Cube Model method to construct the cube. We will use LibGDX's model builder to build our model. Now that we have our cube model, let's move on to setting up the environment. The environment will include lighting to enhance the 3D visuals. We will create a basic environment with a directional light. Next, we need to render our model within the Render method. We will handle the camera and model batch rendering here. Before we move on, let's ensure that the depth testing is enabled to render our 3D model correctly. We will need to add depth testing in the setup method. This will prevent rendering artifacts. Now that our basic game setup is ready, let's enhance our game by adding user controls to manipulate the camera perspective. We will use keyboard input to move the camera around the scene. You can adjust the camera's look direction by changing its position accordingly. To make navigation smoother, you may want to reduce how quickly the camera moves. We can introduce variables for movement speed. Now let's include a way to dispose of resources to prevent memory leaks. Override the Dispose method and inside it, dispose of the model batch and model to free up resources. At this point, you should now be able to create a basic 3D game using LibGDX. In addition to this foundational setup, you can further expand your game by adding more advanced features such as textures and animations. Let's briefly discuss how to add textures to our cube model to make it visually interesting. We can load a simple texture using the Texture class and apply it to our model. We will use our texture in the model builder when creating the cube. We can set it in the material of the model as follows. You can further enhance your game by adding animations. Using LibGDX, you can build complex animations using animation and model animation classes. Animations can make your game come to life. As a quick recap, we've set up a basic 3D game using LibGDX, initialized a 3D camera, rendered a cube, and discussed how to manage resources and input controls. From here, the possibilities are endless. Consider diving into the official LibGDX documentation and the community forums to discover more advanced features. Experiment with different models, create complex worlds, and implement game mechanics that interest you. Thank you for joining me in this LibGDX 3D game development tutorial. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more game development content. Let's connect. Leave your questions and comments below. I'd love to see what you create using LibGDX. Until next time, happy coding!